welcome to Liberty Traders. I'm very excited to give you a short-term update today. Obviously, about 2 days ago, we did the high-term time frame analysis and just taking you guys through exactly where we're on the market. So today, it's going to be all on the shorter term and possibly looking at some trade setups and some levels where we can trade from. So I'm extremely excited to show you guys the levels and what we can be looking at the next couple of days. So yeah, let's cover some levels and see what we can do to take some trades. So currently I'm on the 4-hour, and what we can actually see is I pointed out that we had this key level that we've been talking about on the Discord for the past couple of weeks, and we've come into this level. And when we reach this level, we've actually had a nice little drop, about 8%, yeah, since that level. And we took some shorts from the highs after seeing some loss in momentum. And then I also had this other key level on. I was pointing at the 24,200 level. I was actually just saying that if we could actually stay above this level, we can definitely look for higher, because we can see it's such a big key level. And the other reason was that I had this Fibonacci channel on, and we can actually see that that's also been a very good level that's been respected extremely well. And we were hovering just above it, and we came into that key level that was about 1.5% up. Couldn't claim it, couldn't get above it, and rejected it, ultimately getting back into the channel. So currently we find ourselves on the 236, exactly as I was mentioning in the previous stream. So that's support on the weekly. This was a level that we were looking at as well. So that's just currently where we are now, finding ourselves at quite significant support. So today was a very fun day. I was actually very involved on Discord today. I actually took a nice little long from the weekly. We can actually just zoom in and see how well it was respected yesterday. Just go on this 5 minute. What we can see, we came into the weekly, actually made a nice little rally up, came into the resistance. What I always do is just wait for a nice little retrace. I mean, there's no point in taking a trade and hoping for the best, so we take a nice little Fibonacci. We can see that we came into the 618 area. So if we put it on the golden pocket, so what I did was I actually waited for this, and as we can see, we had a nice little weak buyback, and we actually came back to take the lows. So I did take the trade on this first pullback, and we saw this reaction. And as we can see, if we go down to our profit and loss, I took that trade on 23,300 to be exact, and I was taking some profits around the 23,500 level. So as we went up from the 23,300, so I actually didn't take it literally on that. I was just waiting to see if we can get a nice little reaction from there. And then eventually I got in 23,300. As we can see, it's not a big risk at the end of the day. So that went up on a 15x leverage, going up to 23,500. That's just, it's just a 1%, but the nice little small scalp, taking some profits, definitely after seeing this loss of the SFP. Couldn't claim the level, couldn't go higher, and I just decided, you know what, no point in staying in this in the trade but without taking any profits. So yeah, I took some profits, and we found ourselves coming down today. And then what I actually did was I was actually saying that we can look at the 0886. So I was mentioning earlier that we're looking for the 23,300 again. And the reason for that was, if we do like a little volume profile, let's just see at the time when we got let's say before we got to that level. So we always go back. So as we can see, the 23,300 is the value area low of the range. We could potentially pull it back a little bit more. And yeah, there we go. It's exactly 23,300. So that is why I was saying, we can potentially look for a nice little long. But I was saying, if we have bullish CVD, and at the time I did not see bullish CVD, and we went a bit lower. I mentioned there no bullish CVD, no trade easy. Still waiting to see what's going to happen. Could make a higher low. Last chance is the 0.886, which is just about now. So yeah, that's something that we can definitely be aware of, and I was waiting for that level to be reached. And as we came down to this level, obviously look at these wicks, and it was on the 0.786. So I was definitely looking to trade this, and I actually did. I compounded on a long, actually added on some more leverage, and went over from 15x over to 28x. And obviously we can see that my entry compounded just a little bit higher than the previous entry, 23,300. So I actually never closed that long at all after taking some profits. And we can see that after we had this little rally up, we can see we came down again. And I was just waiting for this change in market structure. And what we can actually see is if we pull this volume profile range, I was just going to pull it all the way. Sorry, at the time, I was looking to enter on market structure change. I'd say the value area actually stayed right there. So in this moment, you want to look for market structure change, and we got that exactly. So what happened was we took the lows over there after taking both these little lows, and had a nice rally up, came back down, changed market structure without breaking this low again. I didn't actually enter right there. I waited for it to come and confirm it. Tested the POC, came down to the value area low, and I decided, you know what, this is a great opportunity. We can see that these highs are being back tested literally over there, which is quite amazing. So I decided, let's take the long. I saw the signs, and it's not a very big move, but if you do high leverage, you can definitely do nice little scalp trades. So posted that I took some more profits on that trade, and now I'm just leaving the rest to run, because we've come to such a significant level on the weekly. We can definitely look for higher. So what we can now do is, I'm just going to take some volume ranges and possibly see what's going on and what we can be looking at. So at the moment, if we just take a nice little profile of this whole range, we can see that we've got the val coming in over there, just about 23,000. Obviously, as long as we're above the weekly, we don't have to look for that yet, but that would definitely be a nice little level. If we do like a little swing failure of the weekly, get back into the weekly, we could potentially then look for higher. But at the moment, we are above the weekly, and we can also look for higher potentially to the point of control. So that's just one volume profile that we can be looking at. You can also go very local. As you can see, that we currently coming into this value area low on this very local time frame. So obviously, if we get into this, get accepted into 23,400, then we can definitely start looking for the point of control of this range and the entire range of this area. If we zoom a little bit out even further, just want to add this on as well. So we can take a volume profile all the way from the low. We can see that this is let me just remove this quickly. We can see that we've got this big POC. It's actually shifted up now with the volume, 23,800. So that's a massive level. If we do come there, we can definitely you look at the reaction. But I can just take this whole area. Let's see. I can either try this section or all the way to that higher wick. And it's actually very similar. So where we find ourselves currently is on this valley area high, which is a very significant level. So if we can stay above this level, there's absolutely no reason why we can't go higher. I mean, that's such a big level at the moment, 23,300. So if we lose this and we actually get accepted below the valley area high, maybe losing the weekly, we can definitely look for this daily exactly onto this point of control. So that's a very nice level to be aware of. We can still do some ranging around here before we drop, but that's definitely a big level that I'm aware of. And then obviously if we lose this daily, we can look back down to the monthly, potentially this whole valley area low of the whole range, and that's at 19,600. But the first target would definitely be this 21,200. I left this daily on because this is a level that I had it on the previous stream. So very big level that we're currently looking at. So yeah, this is definitely a very nice possible trade that we can look at losing this range, losing the weekly, going down another 8%. So that's definitely a good option if we lose this level. So I'm definitely busy looking at the valley area high. That's going to be a big level that I'm looking at. And then what we can also look at, I was talking about the ES today as well. I was just mentioning that it's definitely very important to look at where we are currently. Let's quickly go over to the ES. So as we can see, I was talking about this resistance of the 618 and this trend line. So we're currently hovering around this area. We can still lose it and come back down for a retrace, but at the moment, not major weakness yet. Obviously, does look like we definitely losing some speed. So if we start breaking down, we can definitely look for lower targets, potentially this high or back to the monthly again. But yeah, this high would definitely be the first stop. Let's quickly see. Yeah, that's definitely around the 618 area, but obviously bullish scenario is 382. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what's going to happen. Alternatively, if we do a whole range, we haven't reached the 618 of this area yet, of the full high to low. So I'm also definitely aware of that resistance. So we can still have a nice little rally up before we go lower. So yeah, if we do drop, we can definitely see some more downside on Bitcoin. But if we do manage to break up, we can look for higher targets. So we'll have to wait and see what's going on. I'm definitely going to monitor the stock markets going forward. What else can we look at? I can actually go down just quickly back to the 5 minutes again. Currently, we're just finding ourselves in this range. So before we look at some other targets, just pulling the whole range, yeah, we can just update these levels. So currently it's a very nice little range, currently a high low, and therefore we can still potentially look for a nice little rally up. You know, we can definitely look for some expansions to see for possible targets. The first target would be the 23,600, 700 area, and the second target's at 23,800, and now that's coming into this upper resistance area. So we can definitely see into this valley area low, possibly point of control at the 24K, back at that key level. So this is just how we formulate a plan and potentially see what's going on. So that's definitely a first target that I'll be looking at. We can always add some extensions as well. Let's have a look and see what's going on if we do extension from that to that level all the way to the low. As we can see, the 1-to-1 also comes in at 23,600. And again, the 1.618 comes into the 23,900 area. So that's also possibly we can look at for some targets, just small little scalps, nothing major, between just over 1% and 2.5% on the scalps. And then you can obviously look for shorts again. But yeah, we've come to a significant support, and we'll definitely be monitoring it on that massive valley area high that I was showing on that whole profile. Definitely be aware that we at very big support at the moment. We can also look at I picked up, we just had some single prints. So currently on the chart, we only have this, or we had this single print 23,200 area, and we came down to it. Was actually quite interesting. As soon as we tapped that single print, we had a nice little rally up, but it didn't last very long. Lost it, came down to the weekly, and as we can see, we actually went up for a nice little 1.8%, and then literally came down to that single print again. So it's just a nice little SR level at the moment. And then we do have this single print coming in at 23,650. So that's definitely a level that we can be aware of. It's definitely a significant level, and that again comes into that extension level. So that's definitely a level to be aware of. And then there's also something interesting that I picked up today. I like using Fibonacci time. So what we can have a look at, I'm actually just going to flip off these daily levels and just switch this off quickly. What we can see is if we do a fib time pull from this 48K high to the low, we can definitely see, let's just line this up. There we go. So what we can see is the 236 managed to catch that exact high before a nice big pullback. Because what we're doing is we're looking for resistance with this pull. This is from high to low. So at the moment, with this pull, we want to look at resistance levels for possible short. So exactly on this 236 got a pullback of 16%. Obviously came back to support, rallied up all the way to the 382, almost timed the exact high by a few hours, rejected, came back down 14 hours, again had a rally up, the 0.5 again almost timing the high, having an 8% pullback, and then the 0.618 had a very small pullback, also exactly the high, about 7%. So it's been a very interesting time. We can definitely see we're losing some momentum because each pull-up is definitely not as significant as the previous rise. So the next one is definitely coming in on the 786. That's coming in the 22nd of August. So that's going to be an interesting level of resistance to look at. So we can just look at where the charts are. If it's at big resistance, we can definitely look for a nice little short. Same as the 886, 30th of August, and then the 1-to-1 is coming in on the 8th of September. So this is going to be very interesting fib time. Technically, this is a pullback. It's not a impulse. So what we can look at for resistance coming into each of these fib times. So obviously your retraces take longer than your impulses. So this is the 1-to-1, but it can definitely extend over to the 1.618 or in between there. So we can definitely see at the time where we are. And when we reach these targets on the fib times, we can definitely look for a short if we see weakness on the chart. So that's just something very interesting that I was looking at and noticing that we are rejecting from each of those high pivots. And then what we can also look at just to see what's currently going on with the CVD. let's just quickly see what's going on. The volume is definitely getting lower on the shorter term. But what we can currently see is this is the current low on the that's been made on, and currently doing some slight bullish divergences, CVD that's coming in. So never made a lower low on the volume, on the price action, and made a lower low on the CVD. So currently definitely looking like we could potentially keep going up. So we'll just have to monitor this and see if we don't make any bearish signs. So we'll just have to monitor that. But at the moment, I'm very happy to stay in my long, and I did take profit. So there's a risk-free setup for the rest of this trade setup. At the moment, if we do go higher from this weekly, I'll definitely be taking profits at that first big resistance locally, as mentioned at the expansion. This is just looking for take profits. So I'll definitely be taking profit close to the 23,600 area, taking these highs. So potentially what we can look at is, making a nice little coming in all the way up there. Potentially that's SFP, the level tap, and then go down further. So that's something else that we can look at. As I was saying, if we lose the weekly, we can drop as well. So that's definitely something that I'll be aware of. And yeah, I think that's it for the short term. That's a nice little quick update of where we are in the markets, on Bitcoin, and just in the bigger frame again. This is also a very big level, 23,900. Lose the weekly, I would definitely look at this volume area over here, this low. That's going to be a very significant level. If we come down there, even if we go down, back up, claim the weekly, and then continue with a rise up. So that's something that we can look at. But I'll just be very careful for breaching this value area high and not getting back above this 23,300 level. Then I'll definitely be looking for this daily level. So yeah, that's a solid setups we've got. Very, very simple. Don't have to keep it, to make it complicated at all. So I'm pretty happy with how the markets are behaving at the moment. A lot of guys are starting to get bearish, and there's no reason to get bearish at the moment. I mean, a lot of guys are looking at this pennant that could potentially drop, and I'm not even worried. This is let's see, this is actually not looking like it's breaking down to me in terms of your normal levels. And I guess if you try and connect some other points like this, it looks like that we could be dropping down, but I would not add too much focus on that. I mean, it's like a little bearish pattern per se, potentially coming up to this 24K area and then dropping. So I guess we could be aware of this. But that's retail patterns. I mean, they don't always get respected in those terms. So we'll just have to look at the technicals and see what happens upon rejection, I guess. But for now, I'm just going to see what happens with this current long, potentially going into this value area low and then looking for another long. So that's it. That's a nice little update. And then if we look at Ethereum, if we look at the ETH BTC chart, it's definitely showing some strength, definitely rallying up, getting into this weekly area. So currently we are at resistance, but we're definitely having a very strong impulse move. So if we can claim these weeklies, we can definitely look for higher. That just means ETH is extremely strong at the moment, and we're definitely on support at the moment on Ethereum. We can still come down to this key level at 17,000, but I know for a fact that this 18,000 level is extremely big. If we look at this whole volume profile, I mean, just look at that. That is huge. Currently, we're hovering exactly on that point of control, the 18,000. So if we stay above this, we can definitely look for higher. So Ethereum is looking very strong at the moment. So we can definitely look for higher levels, potentially trade it up to the 618 area at 25,000, sorry, 2,500, referencing to the Bitcoin prices there. We can definitely go to 25,000 on Bitcoin. So let's see what happens if we can claim these levels. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. If you guys want to talk to us, you can jump onto our Discord. We've got all the information on our website if you want to join all of our social media platforms and just see what's going on and have a chat with us. So yeah, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a lovely day and stay safe out there. We'll see you guys on the next update. Cheers, guys.